We're ready for our next set of interviews for the 2021 Big Sky Basketball Virtual Tip-Off on ESPN+. I'm joined by Portland State head coaches Jace Coburn and Chelsea Gregg and student athletes Jada Lewis and Khalid Thomas. So we're just going to jump right into our first set of questions here. This first one is for Coach Coburn and Coach Chelsea. Got a new era of Portland State basketball in both the men's and women's programs. What has been the biggest objectives for you in the offseason? And Coach Chelsea, we'll start with you.
I think for us, it's just getting to know each other again. Honestly, after being away with the COVID year, it truly is getting into gym together, doing team activities, all those things that we wish we could have done last year. Obviously, with also young team, those things are just so important for our development. So that's been the huge objective for us. This summer, our 8 weeks, but also coming into the fall, just making sure that we understand that we're building our foundation, those core values, but also just being around together. We kind of had to reintroduce to each other and all those team bonding activities.
What have been some of those bonding activities that you all have done?
Jay could tell you a few of them, right? But we, on our Tuesdays this summer, we had what was called Build the Ship. And so that was the focus of our conversations about what it looked like to be a good teammate. We talked through our four R's, our core values of our program. And then just fun stuff like ultimate kickball, gets pretty competitive. And then we also went up to Topgolf to finish off our summer.
Definitely sounds like a lot of fun there. Coach Coburn, what have been some of the objectives for your team in the offseason?
I think for us, I think one of the biggest objectives was everybody getting on the same page. We've got, some returning guys, we got a new staff, we got new players. So a lot of it was about, through the summer and through these early practices is getting everybody on the same page, making sure we're all moving at the same pace and at the same, all pulling in the same direction. So I would say for us, like with our biggest objective was basically getting everybody on the same page and understanding each other as people, and understanding personalities and things like that. So just like Coach Gregg said, just getting to know each other, on a deeper level was a huge thing for us so far.
Jada, Coach Chelsea mentioned the 4 R's. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. As soon as she became our coach, she flat out said, these are going to be our core principles. Starts with relational, being ready, resilient, and reliable. These are our core values on the court, as well as moving on through life. Just having those in our minds through life, really getting us ready. So those 4 R's are like what we live by on the court and off the court with our team. So
I love that. Those are some awesome values there. Khalid, what about the core values for your program and how do they translate off the court?
For us, it's, kind of like Jay said, it was about getting to know each other, make sure everybody's on the same page. That's been something that, off the court, we've actually have done really well, especially not having this year and not being able to have last year due to the COVID situation and everything like that, but being able this year to be able to be together earlier than expected, being able to just vibe with each other, to be able to do everything that, we couldn't do last year. And I think that that's really helping us a lot this year.
Coach Gregg, there are a lot of new coaches in the Big Sky on the women's side. How does that level the playing field?
It's exciting to see the new faces. I think the Big Sky Conference has a lot of great coaches, have a lot of respect for those that are in our conference. I don't know if it levels the playing field as much as it just is a new experience, right? When you've been in the league for a while, right? Going to my 7th season here, first as head coach, but you get to understand tendencies, what teams are going to do, the way in which they're recruiting, and how we get ready, right? They're always changing things, different wrinkles, this and that, but now it's truly, man, what is that going to look like when we go to Sac State? What are they going to be running that's different from maybe the last staff, Montana, Eastern Washington, Northern Colorado? So I think it's an exciting time to be a part of the conference, but maybe not leveling just as much as unfamiliarity with what they're doing. More of a non-conference schedule, right? That you're getting prepped for, that you're looking at scouts, maybe what they did last time or previous schools. So I just think it's an exciting time to be a part of it and super honored to do so.
How is your preparation and your scouting going to be different with so many new coaches?
Just a lot of time together. I mean, we're still learning our expectations for what I expect from them, what those roles look like, delegation, how I like things done. They're doing a great job. But in the scouting process, I mean, it's just a lot of being together, watching film, understanding what our identity looks like. I'm really worrying about us first. Like, we have to be ready for the competition, but ultimately it's going to be about what we do, how we show up for each other, and the product that we're going to put on the floor. Of course, always important to understand your competition, to understand who you're playing, to give us the best chance to win. But again, ultimately, we're focusing on us, how we can get better each day and be ready to go for those games.
Coach Coburn, like Coach Chelsea, you have a lot of familiarity with the conference. How does that give you an advantage being a new coach?
I think, this is going on my 9th year in the conference, and, I've seen a lot of coaches change in and out over the years. And, an advantage for me is just, I mean, it comes down to a lot of even like the simple things about, where do you go for the locker room and the familiarity, or like, where do you stay at and things like that. But there's been, a lot of coaches that have changed over throughout the years in the Big Sky. And for me, just knowing the coaches from previous years, like, talked about scouting a minute ago, things like that, and then knowing the players. I mean, I'm anticipating every team's going to be better this upcoming year with so many returning players. So it'll be a really competitive season.
Now, Jada, the culture for your program is very player driven. How have you felt that in your time at Portland State?
Yeah, I mean, our coaches are very selfless. They're always there for us. Like in the summer, our key cards wouldn't work to let us in the weekends or after a certain time. So they'd be ready by their phone. If we ever called or texted, they would hop in their cars and come to the gym just to let us in to shoot for an hour or two. And they're always here to answer questions, to get feedback, to give feedback, whatever we need. They're always there for us. And they've shown that throughout this whole season and the summer so far. So that's how they're very player first.
Khalid, you're the program's top returning scorer and rebounder. What makes you so versatile on the floor?
Just being able to try to get to the right spots. We talk about it all the time, when it comes to rebounding, being able to create that pocket for everybody else, for other guys to come in. So I think, that's going to be a huge thing for us this year, is just making sure that we do whatever we got to do and create stuff for others. I think it's all just going to come down to the decisions we make together. Obviously, I can't go out and do it 1-on-5, so it's all going to be decision making as together. And I think the chemistry thing is really going to help with that.
When you talk about chemistry, what are some of the favorite things that you do or have done with your teammates outside of basketball?
We played paintball. We had a nice little paintball sesh. That was a really good team bonding thing. Like I said, that was something that we didn't even get to do last year. We all didn't even get to be together last year like that until really late. So just being able to do all the little things and off the court, and whether that's with the coaches off the court, without the coaches off the court, all the little things that we do together actually plays a huge role in this upcoming season.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Paintball sounds very fun.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy.
I love it. How'd you do?
Oh, I might be really tall, but I'm agile. I'm really nice at paintball. I'm just saying,
All right. Casual flex. Jada, what about for you? What's been your favorite activity that you've done with your team outside of basketball?
We actually went on a team retreat over the coast. It was a nice retreat. We got to spend 2 whole days together, all in the same house. A lot of time together as a team, but it was really good to know everyone and to learn new things about people that I didn't know before over the summer. So that was probably my favorite thing that we did as a team, as well as Topgolf. It's always fun to do a different sport and be competitive outside of the basketball court. So that's probably my favorite.
Who on your team is the best at Topgolf?
Oh, I think people would disagree, but I would have to go with Sid Schultz.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. And how'd you do?
I think I'm all right. My grandpa taught me a few things.
Okay.
And yeah, Coach Keaton taught me a few things as well. So
It sounds like you're really good and you're being humble.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
nice. She's nice. I mean, you held on to the club. We've had players lose that thing. So, I mean, first step, hold on to the club. So you're doing good already.
First things first. Love to see it. Now, Coach Chelsea touched on this a bit with Coach Coburn, but having that familiarity with not only the Big Sky Conference, but with Portland State as well, how important is that for you in your transition into head coach?
Absolutely. I think that's been the biggest thing for me. Of course, learning that transition from associate head coach, being that assistant coach right there with them to now that new role, which it is different, right? And so we talked about that early, even in the interview process, about what that's going to look like and making that transition. But ultimately, trust. I didn't have to come in here and earn that trust right away. I had already had the opportunity to build that throughout the years with these players. Now we had the freshmen coming in that I had an opportunity to have a hand in recruiting. So building that trust there, but ultimately I think that gave me a leg up coming in as a new head coach, being able to know these players, understand them as people, as players, and then already having that trust established. I think it's been a great transition so far. I hope Jada agrees. But it's, it is different because I'd be the go-to with all the things. And now as a head coach, I'm still, I'm here. But they got to go to with my staff. And there's some things, that's changed. They know I care. They know I'm here if they need something. But that does, that next seat over just looks a little bit different. And that's why I got a great staff. I mean, that's why they're here.
Coach Coburn, I know that adversity is something that you like to incorporate into your practices. But looking back, I see Khalid there with a face, definitely agreeing. Oh, okay. And so, looking back at last season, obviously your program and the programs throughout the league faced a lot of adversity. How do you think that prepares you for this season?
As far as last season?
Yeah, and if you want to touch on the adversity that you incorporate into your practices as well, how that's going to help your program, that'd be great. Khalid doesn't.
I really believe, like last year, obviously it's been well documented what our, school and team and programs, athletic programs had to go through last year. So there was a bunch of adversity. I mean, Khalid touched on it a little bit, like they weren't allowed to hang out at all. It was tough to get to know each other. There was a number of obstacles through last year, but last year's last year. And, this year obviously things are still going on, but we don't have the obstacles that we had last year. And as far as practice goes, I really believe that it's up to me to make sure that our guys are able to function in adversity at a really high level. So I believe in putting our guys through adverse situations, whether that's something I create, whether that's something that the team has created on the floor or whatever it might be, because at the end of the day in a game, I only have so many timeouts to stop it, and so I want us to be the team that is going to be known for really competing at a high level during adverse times. And that's a lesson that they can all carry on through life too, because in life, you're going to face adversity all the time, especially when it's unexpected. And I want to make sure that every guy that comes through this program is successful, not only just on the floor, but in life as well. And, so it's really important to me, especially in practice, to learn how to practice through getting through adversity. I don't want them to face adversity in the first time in a game. I want them to feel it in practice, because that's what practice is for. Practice is, to get better. So the more opportunities that they give me to create adversity for them, I'm going to take it. So, we talked about that as a team the other day, and, there's going to be a lot of times when they don't like it, but I want them to understand that, it's all coming from my heart and trying to make them the best possible people I can.
Khalid, from the perspective of a player, what do those practices look like?
Those practices, we've had some intense ones, and, we had, coach created some adversity the other day, and, that we didn't fully understand, but, thinking back on it and having a conversation after, and even like he said, we continue to talk about it as a team. Him putting us in adverse situations to be successful is huge. putting us in adverse situations. One thing that really stuck with me, what he said was, okay, I did it just because I wanted to see how you guys were going to react. And I was like, I saw it that way as well, but like, it just, I like that he does that, you know what I mean? And it's not always, nobody's going to ever just, wait for the adversity, but it's good for him to be able to put us in that situation and have us understand later on, or after the fact, that why he's doing it. Because at the time, guys are going to see it that way. So him putting us in those situations and then letting us know, like, hey, this is why I'm doing this. So we're not just confused all the time. That's something that's really going to go a long way for us. And these practices have been intense and had some adversity in them, and I think that we responded really well.
Look forward to seeing how that translates into the season. So that'll be fun to watch. Now, Jada, what personal goals have you set for yourself in going into this new season?
Personal goals, number one, just staying healthy. Being an upperclassman, I feel my role is stepping up, especially with having 4 new freshmen. Just being a leader to my team and being the person people come to for questions if they're not going to coaches already. That, and also just keep doing what I'm doing, be who I am, and play the way I play. I think I found my role on this team, and just staying in that role. And if I could help other people find their roles as well, that's probably my main concern right now. So
how do you describe your leadership role on the team, Jada?
I think on court guard who could help manage the floor. I look up to some of even my younger teammates that I have for their hard work. I kind of hop on their backs and they'll hop on mine. We kind of have that accountability with each other now, and it's just great to feel that.
Coach Chelsea, you do have a younger program, as Jada just alluded to. Who should we be keeping an eye out for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have an exciting team overall. But in saying that, I'm really excited about the development of our upperclassmen, Jada being one, just seeing that hard work paying off for her, being in the gym, leading by example. I think this is the biggest thing for her. We're asking her to be a little bit more vocal at times, but ultimately by her showing up and being there for her teammates, that's a big deal. We got our lone senior, Sav Dollywell, coming back from 2 ACLs. So excited for her to come about what she can bring to our program, especially on the leadership side of things. And then our young players. I think we're a little young, so we don't really know, and that can be a great thing. They don't know what they don't know. They're coming in excited about the process, excited about the potential. And so that can be really exciting. And so I think overall, just we're hungry. We're hungry. We, yes, have built this championship foundation here at Portland State, but we only have one player that was a part of that. And so now as like coaching staff, we know what it takes to get there, but we got these young players that want to be a part of that, something special moving forward, bringing us back to that. And so with that, just we got a young point guard that I think has already established herself in a leadership role for sure, and excited what she brings to the table. But ultimately, just together as a team, that team chemistry, every day just getting that 1% better.
Coach Coburn, you've got a good amount of transfers there in your program. Who should we be keeping an eye out for on the men's side?
My honest answer is everybody. I think Khalid, if you were to ask him right now too, he'd probably say everybody. One thing about our team is that not one single guy is like another one. Everybody on the team brings something different to the table. And that's one thing we really set out to do with the guys that were returning, the recruited guys that came in, is we wanted to make sure that nobody was like anybody else when it came to the basketball floor. Now, they all share similarities, with their intangibles and their mental makeup and things like that, and some things that we look for. But on any given night, it could be anybody. And that's the thing I love about this team, is that we have so much depth, 1 to 15. And, and through practice and through, past places that people have been, they've all shown that they can bring something to the table. They've all proved it. At the Division I level. We've got a lot of guys on our team who've started a Division I game before. So, like I said, it's a lot about getting everybody on the same page, but you know, I feel bad about not shouting all 15 guys out, but they all know that, you know, that I love them all. And, you know, we're going to just, you know, one day at a time. And yeah, I would say everybody. I mean, there's not one single guy that I'm not confident in.
I'll look forward to seeing that. Khalid, when you look at the schedule, what games stick out to you?
You talking about the entire schedule or preseason? I mean,
Let's divide it up. Tell me non-conference and conference. What's standing out to you?
non-conference, what hits me right away is Oregon State. I mean, I can't wait for that one. I mean, we need that rematch from last year. You know, especially, you know, a team that went to the Elite Eight, so that'll be, you know, that'll be really good for us. I also really like the Iowa game. You know, I think that that's a huge one for us, and you know, that's going to be another big one, and one for us to really take advantage of and shine bright when we can. Conference, you know, I think there's a bunch of good teams in our conference. I'd probably say Southern Utah sticks out. You know, I want that rematch back against NAU since we only played them once last year, so we need that back. But I think we got I think it's going to be, you know, it's going to be an interesting one this year. And I think we got a lot of big games coming, and, you know, we got a lot of time to stay ready and show up and do what we got to do. So I think we got a lot of good games coming, and I think we're going to be ready for them.
Awesome. We'll look forward to watching. Jada, what about for you? Non-conference and conference, what's sticking out to you?
I think non-conference, we're all excited about it, is Hawaii. Just to be able to travel to an island to play, that's amazing. But also just the competition out there. I would play Prairie View and Hawaii. And for conference, I'm pretty biased, but I think Sac State. That's where I'm from, so I get to see my friends, my family, all my supporters in the stands this year, which is amazing. And just having new team against a new team, I think that matchup is going to be very nice for us and very great for us. So I'm very excited for Sac State.
It'll be great, I'm sure, to have your family there. That'll be really special. So look forward to all of that. Look forward to the season. Thank you so much, Portland State men's and women's basketball, for joining me. This is the Big Sky Basketball Tip-Off on ESPN+.